This is what stands out for me when I look at your chart. It is the channel of the genius, which sounds better to my ears. And it is someone with complex ideas who is ahead of the time.
Magnificence is the boundless expanse of being, a liberation from limitation. It is the embodiment of authenticity, where you shed the shackles of self-doubt, shame, and imposter syndrome. Here, worthiness flourishes like a vibrant garden where you have the power to determine your actions, destinations, and your closest relationships. In the realm of magnificence, creative individuality takes center stage. Your greatness is acknowledged, celebrated, and nurtured. Gone are the days of mindless conformity or fitting in just to keep the peace. This show and your host, Patricia Lindner, are here to guide you as you align with your authentic design, leading the way to a life of purpose and fulfillment. Magnificence is not some unreachable peak or distant dream. It's inside you, waiting to shine brighter than you ever thought possible. Welcome to your magnificence.
Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Magnificence, the empowerment podcast that strikes a match and shines the light on the magnificence and fabulosity of its guests. And today I have the magnificent Dr. Scott Dell with me. I'm so happy to have you.
Honored to be here. Thank you.
So grateful. And I'm excited to tell my audience more about who you are and what you do. And you have a long list of things that you do that is incredible, but I am going to share this with you who are listening to what we say today and what we touch upon. So Dr. Scott Dell is here as an award-winning educator as well as successful entrepreneur, and he is successful in multiple industries. He is an inspiring manager, a lifelong learner, an engaging speaker. He is an avid technologist, and he is a LinkedIn advocate and author of, I think, one book, but maybe there are even more, and we're going to talk about that. He is proud Navy veteran and caring business professional, as well as a LinkedIn and AI expert. He has presented keynotes and multiple training sessions on AI and ChatGPT to global audiences. And his powerful and engaging style makes for an interesting and informative event. Since the release of ChatGPT 3.5 on the 30th of November 2022, he actively helps others as a coach and author of the definitive source for using LinkedIn titled Your Complete Guide to Succeeding with LinkedIn. His application of ChatGPT and development of prompting methodologies to best use this tool help all that want to maximize the benefits from using this powerful tool. And this is so timely. So welcome again, Dr. Scott Dell. Could you please
excited to be here?
A couple of things about everything that you do? Because I told you that I don't like this part because I need to read it and I want to engage with the audience. But you have this incredible bio and you have so many things that you do. And so I would like to pass the ball to you so that you could maybe summarize or focus on a couple of things.
Well, I'll carry the ball. I'll run with it. And I thank you for that wonderful introduction. I was thinking about that. I said, I want to meet this guy. But it's a pretty powerful offering that you were able to present. So thank you for a wonderful job on communicating that.
Thank you.
I guess if I had to pick some highlights or a theme that goes with that, I'd probably say making a difference. Been a full-time educator or academic and professor for 15 years now. Obviously, I'm a little older than 15 years old, so I've got some other things under my belt and some things in the background. So I've been able to do a lot of interesting things that have helped get me here today hopefully making a difference and helping others make a difference in their own lives. And that's what gets me going. That's what the excitement is. That's what I love about teaching. I always learn a lot when I teach. And people look at me funny, say, "You're supposed to be teaching. What do you mean you're learning?" And I'm saying, well, that's part of the game. And lifelong learner, just got the doctorate in 2019. And I was not the oldest guy to graduate in my class, but it was an exciting time and actually opened a lot of other doors as well. And I've got 2 masters, and I've got a background in education, and love helping others. And again, making a difference is that common theme that pulls through. And yes, the complete guide to succeeding with LinkedIn was a fun project. It evolved from an entrepreneurial endeavor, and it kind of snowballed into a book, which is kind of cool. I'm working on another career book that serves the 18 to 28-year-old in the career marketplace, career space, helping mostly students, often veterans, but that are linked to the colleges, get and keep and level up in the opportunities that they seek in internships and jobs, finding their passion, finding their why, and then pursuing opportunities. And that kind of gets me going. So we're having fun. And again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and share.
Yeah. And this is really amazing, because when I listen to you, I remember, because we have been knowing each other for a while, but there was a time that we didn't connect and didn't chat. And now I remember there are so many, if this is possible, like common denominators, the background in education and the love for helping others and being of service. And then you are someone who doesn't just focus on one thing, but you feel this pull towards maybe LinkedIn or ChatGPT. And this is really something that maybe shows more about how magnificent you are. And I would love to share with you and the audience, if I may do that, your human design chart, because being so multi-passionate must show somehow in this chart.
I'm a Gemini, so I'll get this split in anyway. So we can go down that path. Please do.
This really wowed me yesterday when we had a conversation before the recording, that now I can really highlight parts of your chart. But now let's have a look at the whole chart. So you are a generator. That means you are here to do the work. You are really here because you have a lot of energy to do a lot of work, to become masterful at what you do. Like I describe the energy. It's all about energy, like energetics. We are all energy. So it is like you being an alchemist, mixing new liquids and figuring out the best mixture, finding new potential, finding maybe a new way to do something and becoming better and better at what you do. And this is just the general type of the generator. And generators, they want to climb the mountain. They don't want to stay stuck at a plateau. This is worst case scenario when they are stuck somehow. I don't know if this resonates with you. This is just maybe a side note, but does this ring a bell?
Quote, the journey is the reward.
Uh-huh.
And it really is the path that one follows. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have the goals and the things to shoot for, because you shoot high enough, even if you don't reach the peak and the summit, you're going to get pretty high. Yeah. But being able to pursue and enjoy the ride while you're going on the ride is important to be able to do. So, yeah, that has a good feel to it.
Yeah. And so a very uncommon way that I want to start the conversation, and now I try out this amazing tool to highlight what I want to do. So if we just look at this part, which shows those weird numbers and those signs, those astrological signs, I want to focus on the number 16.4. So it is not really .4, it is an exponent, and it is your conscious sun sign. And this stood out when I read your bio, when I listened to what you just shared after my intro. the 16th gate, and you can find it in the chart as well, but just focusing on this. So this sun sign influences the whole chart to a high degree. And so I wanted to really check in with you on this sun sign number. And gate 16 is the gate of enthusiasm. It is the gate of someone who is a leader. And it's all about expressing yourself. It's all about having a lot of skills, enthusiastically offering those skills to the world, having success, and that includes inner and outer success. And it is developing talent through repetition. Here we go again. So this is becoming masterful at what you do. This 4 is the exponent. That is the line 4. That means that you are someone who always is in touch with people. You are a people person. You need someone to connect with, and you need your audience or your coworkers. So you are not someone who just wants to withdraw. Everyone wants to withdraw from time to time, but you are someone who wants to, be with other people.
I will say that the enthusiasm kind of resonated. There's a Hebrew word called ruach, and it's spirit, and it's that flow, that spirit, that excitement, and the ruach that goes with that. I thought it was kind of cool. And that's insightful on the chart. I do consider myself enthusiastic and diving in to make things happen, make things work.
Yeah, and so when there is just one thing that is inside this 16th gate, that is someone with the 16th gate, like you, needs to be careful and well-disciplined when being on this path of self-expression, of success, inner and outer success, and improving skills, sharing skills. What about this part? Are you aware of this needing to be disciplined, needing to be careful, and really organizing this? Because enthusiasm sounds like, whoa, this is like fire.
It actually highlights that, yes, there's a path we're all on and following, and the idea of that the journey is the reward, and that's the path that we're on. But I think that what you're saying, it is a balance, and it's always a balancing act.
Yeah.
The wheel, these maybe 6 quadrants, and if one is short and the other is long, the wheel kind of wobbles as it flows. And we need to be aware of that balance. And I that's consciously I have to periodically re-examine and make sure, because I can get lost in work. I have workaholic tendencies. I go down that path, and I need to be able to come back and balance.
Yeah. Balance. What a beautiful word. And being with people and staying in balance, I think this is really something we all need to be aware of. So as nice and lovely it is to be surrounded with people, and so I'm a people person as well, and there are many signs in the chart that you are a people person. You are someone who finds opportunities in meeting others, and I can share this with you and show you exactly where to find this and also what to be aware of. But there need to be times to withdraw and to not override the internal cycles, of course. So I thank you for mentioning balance.
And I will share another passion is teaching. And I mean, I was teaching photography at MIT in Cambridge, Mass. When I was high school, taught motorcycle safety, taught accounting, taught business. And as a lifelong learner and lifelong teacher, I really enjoy that communication aspect, because we're all growing, we're all learning, and we're all on a path in a direction. So it's kind of exciting to be part of helping others. And again, back to making that difference.
So here you can see there are several. So that's the generator and your sacral authority, which means that you are someone who really can rely on the sacral response when you need to make a decision around people, around projects. You can ask your, like, really the belly answer that is either yes, and you definitely could feel it, and no, not me, not this project, not these people, as someone that I want to work with. So this is part of what you can find here.
Now say sacral is a new word for me.
Okay. So
do a little deeper dive.
Yeah.
Thank you. Please.
We're saying this. So you can see this in the chart. And I like playing around with this magnifying glass. So just the lower part of the chart, the circle is your sacral center. This is the most important center because it's sort of a motor, your driver. So you really have a lot of energy in your chart, which means, so this is like, you find it when you just touch the belly button and go a little deeper. There is the sacral center. When you talk about chakras in spiritual language, it is the second chakra, which stands for creation, sexual energy. So really strong and powerful energy. And this is your motor, your decision-making authority. And really, whenever you need to make a decision, it is best to either ask yourself or have someone near you who asks you a question that you can answer with yes and no. It is not so good to ask you, what do you think about this? And then you need to explain it in broad. It is best if there is a decision that you are asked yes and no questions, and that you tune into this part of the body that has this deep gut response, like or like really not yes and no, but and deep.
Whatever. Yeah.
So maybe next time, if there is a little or a bigger decision to make, you can remember to tune into your sacral, this really powerful center in your body.
Wow. That is powerful. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And also, so I wanted to go into a different direction, but as I just put this magnifying glass on this part, it is interesting because then I can share, there are a lot, you see like highways going from one circle to the next triangle or square. And so these are channels. They connect different centers. So now you know that this is your sacral, and your sacral is directly connected to the intuitive center, which is like animal instinct. And having this connection, so they can really communicate with each other. This is powerful. And as this channel is defined, that means it is black or red, no one can take this away from you. No moon, no planetary influences, no conditioning by someone, no manipulation. So this is always on like an electric circuitry. And what this means, this connection, the 2750, it is called the channel of preservation. And when you look at the numbers, 27 and 50, that means 27 especially deals with providing protection and care for others, caring for others. And there is this strong need for you to protect and care for others. 50 is called the cauldron. And that means that you are especially, maybe in a leadership position, caring for the younger. And I thought this was amazing to discover this in your chart, knowing that you do so many things for your students.
That is powerful.
Yeah, it totally is powerful. Yeah. Okay. So this is just something to really pay attention when you look at your chart. And in case you want to dive deeper, look at the channels, because they define a constant energy that is running until the day you die. So it is always there.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I want to move up again and then focus on something different. But again, a very huge sign that you are a people person is when you look at this, it says 4-1, opportunistic investigator. And I hope and I guess that this is something that resonates with you. The conscious part is the opportunist that is a people person, and that means you are a networker. You are someone who loves meeting people, and there is one thing that you always need to be aware of and careful. When you befriend someone, opportunities will come from this person or might come from this person. So it's all about the correct choice of people.
Always about choices, right?
Yes, it's always about choices, but you have your gut response, so you can ask for the aha or the
Yes, no. You'll be at 0-1.
Yeah.
The binary. There we go.
And then I think this fits exactly who you are, the investigator. And maybe you can tell us more about that. Then I want to stop the screen share. But the investigator part is someone who is asking a lot of questions, who is inquiring, who is building a foundation so that you can step on. And this can be a really detailed foundation that could be really in-depth studies. So that's not like wishy-washy stuff, but the investigator really needs to collect information and wants to provide this information to others. And I would love to know if this is something that is true or new to you.
Actually, in retrospect, it's insightful. Like I say, I recently got the doctorate in business. I'm not that kind of doctor, so the business doctorate, which has obviously a fair share of research and focus. And I am engaged. I do have more questions than answers. And I love it when my students also have more questions than answers, because that brings enlightenment and an opportunity to learn. Because if you're not asking questions, you're not engaged and you're not thinking about things. And really, do you care? But those that care really are doing a deeper dive, trying to understand, and are aware of our limitations in that understanding, yet still seeking answers. So it's exciting to see and to hear and to feel that as you were talking, saying, yeah, investigating, exploring, experimenting, again, diving into things, and back to helping others dive into things as well. We're talking that we have a presentation coming up in October, and it's about AI and ethics and using. And I said, why don't we get a student on the panel? This is geared for educators, but I'm saying, you know what, if we can pull a student in, it's A, it'd be a great experience, and B, it's going to provide some insights that us old timers that have been in education for a while may have glossed over. And we start making assumptions and start thinking, yeah, everybody knows this kind of stuff. I took 60 students to Pittsburgh for a leadership conference last fall. 3 had never been on an airplane.
Wow.
Flying to Myrtle Beach up to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And it's just the excitement. It was cool. And it's fun to be able to get folks to kind of get out of their shell and try things. And we had the conversation about networking. And, the old Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the second best time is now. I've kind of hijacked it and said, the best time to network is 5 years ago. The second best time is now. Being able to do that in the career space, over 80% of jobs come from networking. And what I call doing the informational interviews, doing the outreach, not saying I want a job, but having communication. I liked what you were talking about, opportunities coming from the people you meet and evaluating. You're not going out there saying, hi, like going on a first date. Hi, will you marry me? That's not what you're saying. You're saying, hi, I'd like to get to know you, like to learn more. And the same thing when you're in a career space or you're engaging with alumni in the academic environment or with just people and friends and contacts. And I think we met at Lunch Club, which I think was the original source, which has been an amazing environment of some pretty cool people like yourself.
Yeah.
It gives an opportunity to provide new opportunities. So it's an interesting journey.
Yeah, totally interesting. And when I listened to you, another interesting question came up out of my curiosity, asking about your curiosity, because now I want to do it the other way around. First of all, I would love to talk about something, and then I would love to share what the chart reveals. When I ask you about ideas and projects and maybe ideas that might not even be from this world, like future fantasies that you might think of, maybe even in pictures, envision stuff that is not yet out there. Does this touch you? Because you start smiling, and I would love to really know about your genius future fantasies, ideas, and visions. Is there something, and you don't have to share in detail, but is this something that
resonates?
Yeah, resonates.
Interesting you bring that direction, because I'm a Trekkie from way back when. All right, and in the '60s I was actually watching Star Trek, so I'm old enough to remember. But I love the new stuff too. I love the futuristic. But it really is talking about the present. Mm-hmm. And it really is exposing and sharing and providing insights that kind of shines a mirror on who we are, what we are, but also where we can be, where we can get to. That's one of the things I love about AI. I mean, there's that fear and hope balance.
Yeah.
I'll confess, I'm on the 90% hope, but I have that 10% fear. And I think fear is healthy. I also think there are a lot of folks out there on the other extreme that are 90% fearful. That, and when some of the scientists and the folks involved say 10% chance this is the destruction of the human race, that's a pretty big number. But frankly, I have a lot more hope in the human race in the direction. But I do believe AI is changing the world as we know it. More important than the printing press, more important than written language or the internet. Is it going to change society, the world as we know it? I'm a capitalist from way back when. It's going to change capitalism as we know it. Mm-hmm. And so the future, I think, is bright. There's another old Chinese proverb that says, may you live in interesting times. And I used to love that quote. I'd say, interesting times. Yeah, like bring it on. I want the interesting, I want the fun stuff, the exciting stuff. And a colleague corrected me and said, Scott, interesting times, that whole quote, that Chinese proverb is a curse. I said, what do you mean? Don't you want to live in interesting times? He goes, interesting times means change, upheaval, and transition. And during those times of change, there's famine, there's all kinds of other plagues and other issues that evolve and geopolitical shifts and a whole bunch of things that complement that and go on with that. So I still do want to live in interesting times. I would like to be interesting, but it is, again, always learning. I realize that, change is hard. And this AI change, which is major, is also going to be difficult for many. But it's the third industrial revolution, fourth industrial revolution, the steam engine. We always had the Luddites came out and said, let's smash those machines that are taking our jobs. I mean, I'll give you an example in the accounting field. In accounting, 100-person company years ago, 7,500 years ago, had 30 accountants. Okay, you had all kinds of, it's all manual and a system to go. Well, 50 years ago, you were down to 10. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, a 100-person company can get by with 1.5 or 2 accountants. And you start saying, well, there's all these unemployed accountants running around, right? The pipeline is shallow. There's not enough accountants out there, and there's opportunities. So But what gets opportunities that happen, and I'll emphasize the accounting side, is rising up to the C-suite, the chief levels.
Yeah.
CEO, CIO, CFO, chief financial officer, chief executive officer. You now are more in strategy. You're now doing more interesting things. Those are still the people. There's less job-specific bookkeeping and routine stuff. I'll call it the boring stuff. I hope not to be boring, but there is sometimes you buckle down and do what you got to do. But exciting parts are when you can make a difference and share and make decisions and directions on where we're going. So those are things that, and there's a shortage of accountants, and there are a lot less of the mundane, but a lot more of the exciting opportunities.
Thank you so much for sharing this. So would you agree that there is, so generally speaking, no good nor bad, no right nor wrong, but it is all an interesting point of view how to look at things?
I would agree that there's always a balance, and that, and you're making me think, which is cool. Thank you. I've had this discussion about truth, and some people fear there's the absolute truth, and my gut tells me truth is relative. And people say, how can you talk about that? There's absolutely right and wrong. Killing's wrong. Okay, well, you kill a mosquito. Okay, you're in a wartime situation. Yeah, death. I don't believe in a lot of things in terms of, when it comes to, I believe in life, and I believe in fostering life. But I'll swat a mosquito. Okay, but it's also a sign of the times. 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, truth was different than today, which will be different from tomorrow. So these truths are not self-evident. They go in a direction that are relative to the times and the environments that we are part of. So, and again, the global picture, there's yes-no balance, the yin-yang balance. It's a whole big field of understanding that, there are very few absolutes.
I love that, and I couldn't agree more, because I think truth is relative, and especially when you look at the different centuries or the discoveries, then one truth was true back then, but it isn't true anymore. Maybe there are some general truths. That's what I thought about just the other day. General truths, you are going to burn your hand when you touch the fire. Maybe this is true always and forever. I don't know if this changes. I don't know.
But exactly, we don't know. And so and this is, now I'm going to share this with you. You are really an outstanding person. Now look at the upper part of your chart. You said you love living in interesting, challenging, interesting times of change. So there are two channels, and I talked about the channels before, the highways between two centers. This is the Ajna center. This is like your energetic computer system, like head space. And this is the throat space, so the manifesting space where you can speak your truth. And so you have your truth and what you know, and your computer feeds this truth. There are two channels, and they are both really, really interesting channels. So this one, the 1165, is the channel of curiosity. And you totally shared that you are someone who is curious when there is something coming up, new age things, AI, and it is someone who is seeking for new ideas, interpreting things, and you are never, ever running out of ideas. What interests me around this is, do your ideas come in visuals? Probably not so much visualization. I mean, the headspace has its own conversations.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing images. I'm not seeing the future as a vision, the Nostradamus effect.
Mhm.
going down that path.
Yeah.
But I do feel, and I do think I see things and pursue opportunities that's the path I do follow.
Yeah, you created this program for university for the students. So this was a major thing. So maybe this came to you as the visual concept. I don't know.
Yeah, we just were speaking. I got a colleague out of Wisconsin. We were just speaking at the National Association of Colleges and Employers Conference, NACE, in Orlando. And it's the College to Career Convergence program. We're running a pilot this summer, actually. It's been very well received. The students love it. We're going to be kicking off this September with this program. Career service offices, employers, and corporate support, and alumni support, along with students that are going to be peer mentors for their fellow students. So entrepreneurship is creative ideas and creative opportunities, and it's sometimes focusing can be the challenge. Is coming up with the idea, doing the deeper dive, and going down the path, channel, and enhancing that. But it's nice to have a broad base. It's like the GP, general practitioner, medical professional, the doctor versus the specialist. And,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a shortage of a lot of specialties, but the family practice is the biggest shortage I've heard in terms of being able to have like bigger picture of the bigger need. Because that takes a lot of skills, you're throwing all kinds of things from all kinds of angles, and that you may never have seen or heard of, that you need to do the research. You need to dig in, you need to dive in and find things, explore things. It's constant learning. But it's all about lifelong learning. We're here for a limited time to make the most of it, make the best of it. But continuous growth and continuous opportunities, continuous learning it's important to me, and I try to spread that wealth and share that.
Great. And so I don't know if I mentioned this, but I guess I mentioned it in the beginning that I'm overly grateful to have you. And part of it is that you have this channel, the 2343, not just because of the channel, but because I totally appreciate your presence and the conversation. But this is what stands out for me when I look at your chart. This is the channel, and the boring version is it is the channel of structuring. That sounds boring to me as a highly creative person. So I would love to share with you, for me, in my eyes and my interesting point of view, it is the channel of the genius, which sounds better to my ears. And it is someone with complex ideas who is ahead of the time and who comes up with ideas that might not be from this time. And this person must be recognized and for the ideas. And the person needs to be really careful when and with whom to share those amazing ideas. And I wanted to really contribute to that, because that's the way I see you, to be honest. I see you as someone who is a big contributor with your genius ideas, sharing your insights and your unique ideas with people and contributing to these times of change in whatever field you wish to contribute. One aspect of it is that you need to be patient, because some people might not understand what you want to focus on or share with them, because they are maybe not that far. And so I really feel this when I talk to you, when I read your posts, your newsletter, that you have those genius aspects in your energetic field.
Thank you. And I'll tell you, that is one of my shortcomings, is patience.
It is?
It's a shortcoming. I don't have patience. Mainly that's not something that I have practiced well. But I'm aware of that too.
Yeah.
So I sometimes, and that awareness, as you know, is crucial, and understanding is crucial to that understanding of how you react and how you interact, and being present and being part of what we do. But that element of patience is something I periodically need to self-assess and bring awareness to myself and saying, okay, slow down. It's okay. Because I do go full bore, full steam ahead. And I sometimes, okay, the steamroll kind of comes on, and I said, I need to slow down. And we're all in this together. And let's make it work.
Nice. And so, just for one last time, I could share so many things about your amazing chart, and I need to focus on some of them because otherwise we are going to go over time. But one thing, I didn't share anything about the white centers in your chart. So you don't even know about the white centers, and I would love you to know about the different meanings of the white centers, like here, those three, and the crown, and then the colored centers. So the colored centers are defined. That is that you get the information or energy around these centers from your inside, from internal sources. When there is an open center, like these white centers, that means that you have like antennas to the outside. That is, people feel that you can plug into ideas, like being really open-minded and having the antennas to the outside. But also, and this is something to really be aware of, and we talked about challenges before, oftentimes challenges come from the open centers. They are amazing because you can tune into people. For example, here is the emotional center. That means that you are able to really feel other people's emotions that are in your space. You feel when someone is angry, sad, happy. And I don't know if I saw it correctly. You just followed my speech and were like, really? Can I tune into other people's emotions, or was there something different?
I'll tell you, my emotional intelligence, my EQ, I've never considered it high. As a matter of fact, at one point I considered it negative. I think I've come a long way. You probably sense, I'm probably a little more extroverted these days, where I used to be very introverted, very internal. So, and we do change. We all evolve. And I think I have, in a positive way, as a product of the experiences. I mean, getting in, teaching full-time for 15 years and adjuncting for 20 in the college space, I learned a lot to stand up, speak, and be a little bit more confident and get the message across. But the emotional intelligence, I think, has risen. I know I have room for improvement in a lot of areas. And that's one area that I think I would like to have more sensitivity to, and awareness of. So and again, as we go through phases, if you ask me this, if you mentioned this 20, 30, 40 years ago, we get different answers every time. Yeah. Right now, we're all constantly growing, evolving, changing, developing. And it's excitement to be part of that process. So I think that's improving. And it's interesting. I mean, you look at white space and you start saying, white space, that's an emptiness, that's bad.
No.
But you look at a resume, white space is great. Looking at a picture diagram, of course, it's something that is, but it's a balance, and it allows to fill in other areas.
I just excuse me to really jump in, because what you said, and I know that you are a highly intelligent person. So once a lady asked me, she had this open crown where there is a lot of openness. Also, it could be that she might be washed away by the flight and fancy. She might be overwhelmed by all the stuff from the outside. So for me, there is no good or bad, no right or wrong. So human design is not putting someone in a box. But what she said was like, oh, this is open and empty. Does this mean I'm not intelligent? Thought about this. So
interesting interpretation. That's, yeah.
It's not about good or bad or anything.
I'll I'll mention one other item that as you speak, and it's a matter of tolerance and intolerance.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my biggest intolerance is lactose intolerance. I like to think, but that's one thing personally I feel that not enough of us are more tolerant, more understanding, walking in somebody else's shoes, understanding perspective. I love to travel. And that's one of the things I love about traveling is understanding cultures, getting inside, not the tourist traps are okay and they're interesting to go on the Eiffel Tower or wherever else, but understanding people, and we're all in this together, we're more alike than we are different. And if we knock down some of those walls of intolerance, realize that we are in this together and we all have our attributes. People try to polarize. Politicians try to polarize to get folks on their side, and it's scary sometimes. But if we can go past that, we can exceed and be able to take advantage of everybody's knowledge. I'm a fan of DEI and B, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. On the belonging side, we all have that as well.
And so, see, this is part of the emotional intelligence as well that you touched upon just a couple of minutes ago. And I totally feel that you tune into other people and you let them be the way they are. And other than that, you said you love traveling. I could have told you there is the gate of the wanderer inside your chart. I didn't say that, but that's true. There is the gate of the wanderer, someone who loves traveling. So that is gate 56.
I'm not sure if that's why join the Navy, see the world. They didn't tell you 2/3 water, so that I was missing in the tagline. So,
to really come to a close, I would love to ask you 2 more questions, and the one is about how could people really get in touch with you? How could they find out more about you? Maybe even work with you or read your book or whatever. How could they really learn more about you?
I won't fight you on that. You're welcome to read the book. And frankly, anybody listening to your podcast, if you want a free copy of PDF, I can do that. If you want to get it on Amazon, you're fine too. No qualms, no problem with that. But I'm on LinkedIn. I'm very active, and that's probably the best way to reach out. Dr. Scott Dell on LinkedIn. I've got a whole bunch of other letters, CPA, and some other letters after that, CPC. So those are things as far as outreach. As a matter of fact, this morning you were communicating. Had you sent an email, I would not have seen it. But I did see a LinkedIn message from you said this morning that was a follow-up. So that I see those actively.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I'll share 5% of the grade of virtually every class I've taught for over 10 years has been LinkedIn part of the grading structure. So I'm a believer in LinkedIn for all levels for a lot of folks. It's a professional social media. So LinkedIn is the best way to get a hold of me. /n/Dr. Scott CPA. I'll just search on there. That's the cleanest. Now, I also have some websites and some other business engagements and opportunities, and the door's open. I mentioned Lunch Club. I think that's a really cool environment because I meet wonderful folks, as I said, like you, that gives me some insight. And frankly, I haven't done a lot of business from it, but I've been doing it for over a year, and it's just an idea. 45 minutes, you talk to people, and you get some insights and get some ideas. Have some cool conversations. And everyone I've met has been pretty amazing in terms of their accomplishments, the goals, the directions. The one time I thought it was going to be a bad conversation, they're going to ask for money, which they did anyways. But it was still a good conversation. And we had got some insights about some international business type of opportunities, directions, shared some ideas. So, and I'm on WhatsApp as well. And then I've got all the good social media, counting ACCTGUI, counting guy on Twitter. Although, yeah, we've got the new version on Facebook that might be taking dominance. It is now taken over from ChatGPT as the 5 days to 1 million users. They were in less than a day at 1 million users. So it's an opportunity. So I love outreach. If anybody wants to chat, if anybody wants to communicate, I'd say LinkedIn is the cleanest and most direct way to get a hold of me.
Yeah. See, you are such a people person, and I can definitely say that each and every conversation is a highlight. I learn from you. We have some insights. Yes, we learn from each other. And it is so we could really go into depth, and that is what I appreciate and what I really like about you. So once again, let's go into the depth of who you are. And this is my final question. Is there anything that is like a gem that we could put out into the world, something out of your experience or maybe your future visions, anything that you would love to share with the audience that might be exactly helpful for the person who listens right now?
Let me go into the AI space for a minute, because that fear and hope balance,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, and there's Bill Gates had his book. He said, we overestimate the change in 2 years, but underestimate the change in 10. And that was a book he did in 1999, I think. I've revised that for the AI space. We over project what's going to happen in the next 6 months, but we under predict what's going to happen in the next 2 years. And this AI space, I mean, World Economic Forum, I'm going to throw some numbers at you, give you just some insights and some ideas. World Economic Forum originally, about 4 or 5 years ago, came out with, it's actually 2020, 3 years ago, they came out with a projection. 85 million jobs will be eliminated and 97 million will be created. You don't need to be a CPA or an accountant to say that's a net gain of 12 million. That's kind of cool. Then they just revised it about a month and a half ago. They said 83 million jobs will be eliminated and 69 million will be created. And you say, well, again, I'm not being an accountant, but that sounds like a major loss. They don't really know. No one really knows. But what I think AI will do for us, will do more of the mundane, will do more of the activities that are, and this is the first time it's affecting more white collar thought workers in the field. Usually it was the blue collar, it was the machinery, it was robotics, it was the equipment. But now it's different jobs are being displaced. My personal concern is that displacement will be more short term and the replacement will be much longer term, but they will be replaced. And the jobs and opportunities will be different skill sets that we have. You've probably seen or heard the quote, now it's not AI that's going to take away your job, but it might be someone who knows AI that does. So the pitch is get to know it, make it your friend, engage. I heard a scary figure. I think it was the title of an article. 90% of this group of professionals thinks a chat GPT experience and knowledge is more important than a college education. 90%. And I looked at that. That scared the heck out of me. And I thought about it and I said, first of all, it was less than 6 months that they were exposed to it. Most of those people, and even when I speak in groups, most of the people still haven't engaged directly in it, but they're projecting and trying to understand that, yeah, that this is cool stuff. I'll say, and we've had a lot of creative conversations today. I love the charts. I love the insights, and you're getting me to think. I do like to think. But being able to analyze and understand and say, okay, we've got this stuff going on with AI, but you need to be creative in how you prompt. I've got 2 methodologies I've designed for prompting, and I share that with clients. These methodologies, it's not, I used to call it Google on steroids. I was wrong. Google is a one-way ticket. Ask a question, it gives you a whole bunch of resources and answers. ChatGPT or GPT-4 or Bard or any of the other platforms is a dialogue. It's a conversation. It's a deeper dive. And by the way, every one of my newsletters, the other way to engage, I have something called the Career Capsule on LinkedIn. Publish it monthly, started December. And every issue, not using AI to create it, but I have an AI conversation at the end. 2 issues ago, I had a ChatGPT 3.5 conversation, GPT-4, and a Bard conversation. The last one I showed, here's my prompts. I had 3 or 4 different prompts and the one answer in the career space. So anybody's curious about future jobs, careers, directions, newsletters might be an interesting read. But seeing the direction of where AI can and will take us, I'm, as I say, 90% hopeful, 10% fearful, but we're addressing it now. When the Industrial Revolution came about, big bad business came in and displaced workers right and left. And then the cities got overpopulated more so than they already were. And a whole bunch of issues that go with that. So, trying to figure out that we're in a future direction. How do we fit into that? How do we become part of that? And there are going to be some new skills. And higher ed's getting a bad rap these days. But I'm still a believer in higher ed in a big way. Because that, again, stimulates thought process. It shows commitment. It shows someone that can be part of structure, yet maybe thinking outside the box terminology. But that's the direction. They could think beyond the present, here, and look towards the future. Thank you for making me think about the future.
Yeah. Thank you for really diving deep with me. And I love what you just shared, because that is giving me a bridge into my final sentence. As you said, you can use an artificial intelligence to read a human design chart, but it would not be the same if you did it with, for example, me as a human who is creative, who is intuitive, who is human. And I think this is just, there is this 10% or less of fear, but isn't it so important to stay the original and to stay the human person and to use our human gifts and to still share them with the world, to still put them into the ChatGPT conversation, because that's what just is ours. And I think...
And AI is going to enhance that ability for us to use those skills, knowledge, and creativity.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Scott Dell, for this amazing conversation and for allowing me to share your chart and talking about your magnificence and everything that comes with it. I am grateful that we were together, and I hope to see you soon, and I hope to see you soon with another episode of Magnificence. Thank you, and goodbye for now.
Thank you for joining us for this empowering episode. To continue this journey of aligning with your true purpose and uncovering your magnificence, schedule an illumination call with Patricia at patricialindner.com. Please share this episode with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the show on YouTube and your favorite podcasting platform. Join us again soon for another episode of Magnificence.